Hey guys, it's me. Alright, so this video blog I'm about to do, I've been debating on it for quite some time. Part of me wanted to do it, the other part didn't want to do it. You know, it's a controversial topic, I guess you could say. And no, it's not that one, folks. That one you don't have to worry about with me. But no, it's a controversial topic because, one, I'm a fan, and two, to this day, there's just a lot that just makes people think. Of course, if you want to know what I'm talking about, a wrestling topic, of course, we're coming up on the 5th year anniversary of what may consider to be the big downfall for pro wrestling. We've had all sorts of stuff, like we've had, the Vince McMahon steroid charges, we've had the Monday Night Wars ending, but for one, if you followed wrestling for a long time, the Chris Benoit murder-suicide, very controversial topic. I mean, 5 years ago, it was hard to believe that one incident could destroy a reputation for an entire industry. I mean, there are so many unsolved questions for this situation that have happened, and as a fan, it's like, wow, 5 years later, to think it's been that long. I mean, here you're talking about a guy who one of his favorite wrestlers was Benoit. I mean, when you saw the guy's athletic ability and his talent to perform in the ring, you were just amazed, and it was just awe-inspiring to watch the guy wrestle. And when this happened 5 years ago, it's like a shock. People go, whoa. I mean, a lot of things are unsolved about that. I mean, of course, after it happened, like 24 hours later, people were immediately jumping on saying that, Chris killed his family and he killed himself. Now, could this be true? Most likely, but there's always going to be that skepticism about it. A lot of things just don't really add up. Like, why would a guy who cared so much about his family and his kids, he had 3 kids, but the big one, of course, being what happened to his son. How could a man who cared about his family do that? And to this day, there is a part of me that goes, I really do not think that Chris did that. I mean, the evidence is just so mind-boggling, and it makes you go, okay, were they quick to jump to that conclusion, or did it, were they right on target? And like today, I was just going through all the pieces in my head. I'm like, wow, I mean, when you think about it, did he or didn't he? People will always be quick and say, oh, he's a criminal, he should never be praised because he did this. You don't know for a fact if he did it or not. I mean, people need to realize that with a situation like this, it is very hard to tell. I mean, for all we know, of course, some areas, police are not really, let's just say, the most adapt people and have some corruption themselves. So, do we really know that, all his brain damage did something that made him do that? Or how do we know his wife didn't, strangle him with a Bowflex and then do that? Like, there's just so much that just goes through your head, and you're like, alright, I mean, hell, this is something that should have been on Unsolved Mysteries, alright? And unfortunately, it's never going to be solved. We really won't know what truly happened. People will always end up going by what they read in the books or what the police say if they're a fan of, justice and authority. But, like, to a true wrestling fan, I mean, it is hard to even watch any past clips of, the person, because you watch and you go, okay, what he is doing in the ring, if this really did take place, was it caused by what he did jumping off that, rope and landing on his head? Was it years of wear and tear? Was it painkillers? It's just mind-boggling, folks. And, I mean, 5 years ago, when that happened, people were just like, wow. They were like, okay, Eddie Guerrero, we could move past that. I mean, he was a guy who had just cleaned up his life, and then that happened. But this situation, wow, what's going on, And it's even caused a lot of people to question, the, acts of wrestling in general. Is it the type of business where they wear you out until you can't take it anymore? Is it, a company drug policy that they bend the rules for their favorite people? Just so much, that brings you in thousands of directions that makes you think and still, question what truly goes on. I mean, when you do look at, a lot of the names since Benoit that have died, or the names before Benoit that died, I mean, when you look at the suicides, when you look at the murders, when you look at the overdoses, like, it makes you wonder, was it because they got so tired and broken down that they couldn't take it anymore because they wanted to stop, and yet certain people were not, allowing them to stop? I mean, take for example, I'm gonna play a hypothetical thing here. What if, what if everything that the police say, what if everything that the medical examiners say was true, and that Chris did it? His brain, after all those headbutts that he did, if it really did resemble that of an 80-year-old, why didn't Vince McMahon examine it more carefully? I mean, it really sickened the fuck out of me. I was watching something on YouTube a couple days ago about the situation, and they showed a clip of an interview, and when you hear him say, I don't know, what made him become the monster that he became, Vince, look in the mirror. I hate to say it. Yes, you're a multi-million dollar or multi-billion dollar giant. Yes, you took a small territorial company and made it into one of the biggest corporations in the world, one of the biggest spectator sports entertainment companies out there. But take a look at how you were wearing down a lot of the guys that were in your company. I mean, you had guys who had to play it smart, like, say, Big Show when he got injured. He took a long time off. Jericho, same with him too. If you knew Chris was having concussion after concussion after concussion, yes, he was a workhorse for your company, but you had the right to say, all right, you need to step back for a while, take some time off, take a breather. Not keep letting him go and get prescription after prescription after prescription of painkillers to make him numb so he could keep going out there for the fans. Yes, us fans care about the industry. Yes, we watch it. But we're not going to forget somebody, who takes time off to heal an injury or a concussion. We're going to be waiting for them with arms wide open. And if they come back, great. If not, oh well. They gave us memories, But to sit there and call somebody a monster when you're the one that created that monster, in my opinion, it's just wrong. And then to go and erase every bit of footage in that person's in-ring career to say, wait a minute, who's that? He didn't exist. No, we know he existed, alright? You gotta remember, we know about Chris Benoit, one of the final members of the Four Horsemen. We know about the Benoit that jumped ship a week after winning the WCW heavyweight title to go to your company. We know about the guy who won the heavyweight title in a triple threat match at WrestleMania 20. Okay? Are you going to sit there and tell us that that match was only contested between Shawn Michaels and Triple H and that it never happened? We know about the guy who dropped the belt to make Randy Orton the youngest champion in WWE history. Okay? There's just so much, that you're just trying to take away and go, that never happened, when yet we know deep down inside those occurrences did happen, and we watched them. But also, the big thing is, and once again, I'm playing hypothetical, what if, if Chris didn't do this? What if it was his wife? What if there was something that really did happen, to him and his family, and it had nothing to do with Chris, and he didn't do anything? Take that as a what if, too. What if all that happened? You're basically destroying a guy's legacy, and it's a two-way street. It really is. I mean, do you believe everything that they're saying, or do you view things under your own opinion? I mean, of course, there are also the people who choose to remember somebody by their in-ring career. I mean, yes, I choose to celebrate him as a guy who was one of the hardest workers and one of the best technical athletes in wrestling. And, of course, I'm going to get shit for that, because people will once again say, how can you view a murderer as a great, person and praise him? I never said I was praising him. I am praising his in-ring legacy. I'm praising the hard work he put in for his career to pave the way for other guys. Guys like CM Punk, guys like Bryan Danielson, they all are in this industry because of guys like him. And to say that, oh, you're praising, him, no, it's just his legacy. I'm still unsure, as to what I think really did happen. That's just my opinion. But still, it was a huge deal 5 years ago, and today it still is, because there are people like me who really don't know how to feel. There are people who do feel it happened, people who do feel it didn't happen. I mean, think what you want. My video blog is not to persuade you how to feel. My video blog is not for you to post hate comments on my Facebook page or on YouTube to tell me how I should feel about the thing or degrade me. You know, if a person, like I said before, if a person like me chooses to praise his in-ring career instead of focus on those last 2 days of his life, then let me feel that way, alright? But, this is what I gotta say about that topic. Of course, like I said, still kind of hard to think about, talk about, but it, it was really a thing that changed the course of wrestling history, too. And whether you believe it or whether you don't want to believe it, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'll catch you guys later. Heel Nation for life.